The story begins when a cannibal girl starts to slowly enjoy devouring some guy's body while ripping his arm off. So let me get this straight. This is Kobayashi Rento. From the looks of it, you can probably guess that he's an unusual guy. He's a descendant of tree people, so he's got a few imbalanced powers. Firstly, he looks like a normal human. Secondly, he's actually a plant, so he can regenerate any damage. In other words, the fact that he's missing half an arm is nothing. He ripped it off when he was trying to save a cat from a tree, and then the crows stole it. He can grow another arm, but it would be better if no one else finds it, because people like him try to hide their origins. They are called humanized. However, this does not prevent them from living in any way. They even made special schools for them, which the guy randomly got into. While looking for his hand, he bumps into his classmate and notices how she is just holding his hand. The guy did not know how to get out of this damn dilemma, but the girl was frightened and ran away, throwing his hand away, and the guy was left only with a shocked face and the fact that she saw everything. Especially this problem is exacerbated by the fact that she is his colleague, who has a peculiarity of biting nails. Vegetarian, in addition, he have a crush on her. The guy gathered his thoughts and went over to her to explain the situation, but she didn't even listen to him and started to run away from him. Kobayashi still understands her, because if it were him, he would be surprised to see his arm intact. Because of his powerlessness, he decided to turn to his tree dad, who accused him of lack of discipline and informed him that they should change the place of residence. But the guy is strongly opposed to this decision, as he wants to continue to go to the current school. Based on that, the parents immediately realized that their son had a girlfriend here, so agreed to stay if he asks that man to keep their secret. The next day, his childhood friend Nanto comes up to him to make fun of him because she knows he's in love with Mina. But Kobayashi, like a true Sigma, doesn't fall for her stupid jokes and asks if she knows Mina's number. Nanto thought he was also one of those horny boys who had a crush on Mina and said that no one in the class knew her number. But in the end, our hero was lucky as he noticed in his locker a letter from Mina to meet him. When he arrived at the meeting place, strange to Kobayashi, the girl asked him not to tell anyone that she had gnawed on his hand, because that's the nature of ghouls, not because she's a pervert. She complained to him that she was a vegan herself, but this time she wanted to taste him, as her predatory instincts were awakened. When he heard that, the guy laughed and said he didn't care because he was a tree dude. Then he said she had nothing to worry about since his hand was as good as new, and Mina was glad she was lucky enough to have this incident with him. And it turned out that her parents were also willing to change her school if she couldn't convince him. They got along so well that even Mina offered to exchange numbers so they could hook up. From that day on, they started having a loving relationship, and they could talk about shit as well as their worries, even though they were from different species. But there's one thing he can't tell her. He started having strange dreams where Mina says she can't hold back from eating him anymore. In gym class, his eyes were fixated on Mina, so Nanto decided to ask him if they really had something going on, to which Nanto replied that it wasn't that simple. So Nanto advised him to act quickly since Mina is popular and someone can get her heart faster. But Kobayashi doesn't worry about it since he knows Mina's secret that no one knows from the usual NPCs. But suddenly a scream was heard, as it turned out Mina overdid it during the game, thinking that she was Michael Jordan that even cut one player with her fingernail, which she had trimmed in the morning, but still it did not prevent her from making such a wound. Seeing this sight, that day she left the class, after which she did not appear in school for a long time. The guy, of course, did not forget about her and wrote to her periodically, and she told him that her fingernails did not stop growing every day. In one of the dates, Mira asked him what would have happened if he had been a normal person, to which he replied that he would have died several times. Our dude asked her the same question, to which she replied that in that case, she would not have been a vegetarian, because of which he later blamed. himself for asking her that. The mother noticed that her daughter's body was beginning to change and told her that she was suffering from transition age at the same age. Realizing that you can't run away from the laws of nature, in order to relieve herself from the stresses, Mommy consoled herself by biting a mannequin instead of her boyfriend, for he is a human being. However, her daughter didn't want to hear her mom doing vulgar things. The mom knows she's in love with Groot, so she suggested her daughter tell her boyfriend to bite him a little. Mina realizes that she can't keep running away from her desires, but she is still a coward and thinks that she won't succeed, and she is afraid of being judged by society. Mommy wished her luck and said that they would come later today on purpose. Meanwhile, the girl was torturing herself with mind-blowing ways to suggest it to him. In the end, she decided that she would go to school today, but she never showed up for class. But our gangster found his female. Mina didn't expect to see him so abruptly, because of which her head started to mess up, and she blushed because she didn't want to ask him that question. But surprisingly, he offered it himself, saying, "Eat me," as he studied the question why she started to grow fangs and nails and realized that it is puberty, so he wants to help her to cope with the hunting impulses. He didn't know his purpose as a tree man before, but if his body has the opportunity to help others, he would be willing to do something good for once. But in fact, we know how cunning he is and what his intentions are, because his hormones are also raging. He said that he has no experience in this, but thanks to his dreams, he knows roughly how it happens. Mina's parents are not home, so they went to her house, where our guy behaved a little gardening, realizing where everything was going. They turned off the lights and here we go. Mina slowly started to taste him. But suddenly her instincts got the better of her and she was completely off her rocker, devouring him. But surprisingly, not only she felt pleasure, but he did too. Yeah, I don't know why he did too. At the end of the process, Mina said that she fell in love with his flavor and started eating him again. In the end, he doesn't know what kind of relationship they have, but he knows that today, after school, they will continue their relationship at this point and ends this masterpiece manga. If you still want similar videos, then you know you need to subscribe and put a like.